plan that consists of a lower insurance premium contribution along with a salary increase will give our employees more flexibility to meet their personal budget challenges. It is also important to remain competitive with surrounding districts, and the recommended $400 contribution exceeds most area districts. The administration recommends that the district provide the same overall amount and contribution to all employees to maintain equity and to ensure compliance with the Affordable Care Act. Also, in your packet is a chart of the 2013-2014 contributions from surrounding districts. The administration recommends approval of this item as presented.
Board questions?
I do.
Okay.
On the other districts, I know Austin's 146, and that's fully funded. The employees don't have to pay anything. On the Pflugerville and Round Rock, since they're self-insured, do you know if they have to? I mean, that's a little skewed. If that's fully funding, do you know if that's fully funded for their employees, or do they have to pay anything?
It's my understanding that you say for Pflugerville?
Pflugerville and Round Rock. I know for Austin it's fully funded. I don't know for those two.
I'm not certain because it's not TRS Active Care. I'm not certain. I don't know what the lowest premium is for those plans.
Probably is, since it's, they're small districts.
No, not Round Rock. They're much
No, no, I meant for Austin.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're all different plans, different self-insurance. I wish we could have seen a budget that had the 529. It was hard for me to really look at it and try to figure it out when I was supposed to plug in the numbers myself, because I do think, especially for our, it doesn't give flexibility when our employees are making less money, when the take-home is less, especially for our support staff. They're taking a huge cut, and it's basically TRS Active Care 1's catastrophic. And when you're making a high salary, it's just gravy to take TRS 1 and put the money in a HSA. But when you're paying the salaries of our support staff, majority of them, it's going to be a huge cut on them. And we don't. And I have no idea what their average, if the average midpoint is $1,500 for our teachers, and that's still going to cut money for them. It's going to be less take home for them for the health insurance on Active Care 1. I mean, if they go to Active Care 2, I can't even begin to imagine what it would be for the support staff, and we don't have that information at all, how the monetary impact on them, which would have been nice to have also. I feel like we're kind of voting in the blind here on some of that.
Rebecca?
You note in there that they're going to make the decision in June. I think I would feel more comfortable waiting to know exactly what TRS is going to do before we make this decision. I think I understand why you brought it early, but I think it makes more sense for us to have the information from TRS, to know what TRS is going to do once they move to Edmond, what those premiums are going to look like, and then the board can make the decision at that point. So kind of following Julia's said, I would like to table this until we find out in June. I think last time we made the decision in July's board meeting, and then we could have made additional in August, I think.
Made it in June.
We made it in June, okay, so we have 2 more months that we
No,
can
but
look
we
at
knew
this.
that if we were recommending a change, it would need to be out there for recruiting, and also if we wait until we're getting too late, if teachers decide they can find something better, then we're pushing it back far enough to where we're forcing them to make a decision at a later date.
I don't think we can use this as recruiting.
Well, we recruit based on competition with other school districts, and so we are still recommending more, especially coupled with the raise. So that was our thinking behind it. If you table it too long, then you're kind of putting people in limbo for longer, and we didn't want to do that.
Well, if you look at Austin, which is the next highest contribution per dollar anyway, we just noting that seeing people come and go between Del Valley and Austin ISD pretty much evenly this last year, so I don't think that's, I don't think that it's really been a high recruiting tool that if we we lower it, I think it's gonna really hurt our recruiting. We lower any at all. So in other words, I think we're gonna get hurt.
Well, we made our recommendation based on the fact that Austin is not projecting giving a raise, and last year only gave a one-time bonus that they may not keep. So their salaries will go down by 3%. But also, like I said, they're a different type of insurance plan, so it's difficult for us, and that's
I'm so afraid that it's gonna come back an astronomical amount of money from TRS, just based on the conversations they were having, wanting to raise it mid-year, because they didn't have enough in the pool, because not enough teachers are taking it, because it's so high, that they don't have enough money in their pool to pay for what needs to be done. So I'm afraid they're gonna come back, and we're gonna have to end up having this discussion all over again. Not to
they raised up Active Care One, we would still make our same recommendation to whatever it would be for Active Care One. You see what I mean? I'm just saying, if the Active Care One goes above 400, which I don't think it will,
it's hold on just a second.
it's 325 right now. They've never jumped that high, so that's why we felt comfortable also, not only that we could afford that, but also that wouldn't put us in jeopardy, that the Active Care One would go above 400. Like I said, if it comes in at 410 or something, then we would certainly come back.
And there's no consideration to continue to fund into, at least partially, into Active Care 2 for the teachers that need it. Because I know of one teacher in particular that left the district because, much like the gentleman said in public comment, had to take out a loan to pay for things because of the insurance costs.
And like I said, believe me, I understand. My job is to worry about the long-term financial health of the district, and to worry about the fact that we're about to go out and ask this community to build additional facilities, which is the reason we have that fund balance is not because we haven't been giving raises, we have. It's because we are efficient to a fault with our staffing and our buildings, not because we're thrilled about it, but because we haven't had any bonding capacity to not put 1,000 kids in one elementary school. That's where our savings came from, and we know that that's where it's going to go once we open additional buildings. So yes, it's unfortunate that part of our job is to look down the road a few years and say, those are the kinds of things that it's for. I don't like getting into a roller coaster. I don't like getting into a situation where it's too feast or famine, where I spend it all down here like some of our neighbors have done, then I recommend cuts, then we go back and we build it up again and we do it again, then we come back and do a reduction in force again. So we're trying to remain even keel, because it is difficult once you've had something to take it away, which is why we don't recommend that from the beginning, because it does look like a cut if you are on that second plan, which most of ours are not. But it does look that way, and we knew that, which is why we didn't recommend it last year. It's because it is difficult to lose something once you've had it, and that we'll have the same conversation ongoing. It's just not something we feel is sustainable. Now, it's your budget, and that's why we make recommendations. The board can certainly adopt any amount they want. But our job is to tell you why we recommend this and what the ramifications are, so that if it turns out we do have to make cuts, or we can't staff a school, or we can't add new programs for House Bill 5, that you know why, that you know where it went. So that's the only reason. I'm just trying to explain that's why. But that doesn't mean that the board can't vote a different amount. It just means our job is to make a recommendation based on what we see as long-term.
I still think our cushion is so great and so above the recommendations by...
But you have to remember, that is not a savings account. That is a snapshot in time.
I understand that. And it's,
Our plan is going from 60% down to 32%.
I understand that.
So that's what we mean by it's not sustainable.
I know it's not sustainable. I think that we're there, we have enough for this 1 year, and I think the case has been well made to get us to the next legislative session where we can actually do something about this. I think we have the cushion for a lot more coverage for 1 more year.
Did y'all think about doing a 2% and upping the contribution for healthcare?
Well, it would be a wash, because the raise, giving the money, giving a higher raise, as opposed to directing it at the employee benefit side gives the employees the flexibility of directing it towards that. I mean, they can obviously take that raise component, that additional 1%, and apply that towards,
Their $2,500 deductible.
or
It's a
or the
$1,500
delta
raise.
between 400 and 529.
Well, it's a
No, and we gotta
$1,500.
do the math both ways. We can't just say, you know what, if we can't do this plan, then all of a sudden we've gotta go back and do the other ones. And I keep hearing that argument, and I'm not buying it. So,
Well,
the difference here is $129 a month, right?
Yeah, but if your midpoint for the employee or the teachers is 1,400, it's.
Well, I'm saying that 1% you can apply that towards that delta.
It's, okay, look, on the TRS Active Care One, it's a $2,500 deductible, but there are never any copay, is that correct? So that means that, that means that when they go to the doctor, they're not paying their $20 or $25 or $30 copay, they're paying, so it's gonna cost.
Don't do active care at one.
That's all we're funding.
I know, and that's why we funded.
Pay the difference for active care too.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, of course that's the option. But what we're saying is, that the pay raise does not pay for the difference. The pay raise does not pay for the difference. And especially for the support staff, it doesn't come close to paying. Because I don't even know what the midpoint is for our support staff, that we did get that information.
Here, here.
Every category is different, every classification.
Is there any way we can get that?
I beg to differ on that because I think when you look at that, the increase took place last year, right?
Mhm.
And so really, when you're gonna talk about difference, you need to compound last year's raise, excuse me for my voice, with this year's raise. So that's what, 6%? When you combine the 2 years?
We had 3 last year.
No,
But remember, we did go 3 years without pay raises, we have to remember that
I
too.
understand, but we also held everybody on board too. So, at the end of the day, we would like to give a 10% raise and pay the whole thing. Everybody would like to do that.
Doesn't say.
But we cannot just focus on this one particular expense item. We have numerous other expenditures out there that one are unidentified, and we have to be prepared for that. We have the fiduciary responsibility as a board to be prepared for that.
I understand that.
We also, when we sit back and we can look at our fund balance and say, oh, we're fine. We have money to spend. But at the same time, we can sit here and argue all day long about what's a healthy figure, what's not, what's a healthy trend, what's not. But when you trend out what we're doing, we're slicing out our fund balance very rapidly on the course that we're doing. And so we're gonna hit a harder brick wall
And
at this pace.
And we have to admit, the health insurance was just a small piece of it going into that. We cut into it for a lot of reasons. And I don't like that we're kind of blaming it all on the health insurance because I didn't figure out, but it seems like every other month we've gone into the fund balance for different reasons. And so we can't blame it totally on that.
Oh, and I don't blame it on the insurance. Unfortunately, the insurance is an item that we don't have that's coming up, that's a big component, and we're basically saying we don't have the ability to fund the entire building.
One of the things I thought about when I have been pondering all this since our budget workshop, and actually the speaker said the same thing. I always hear, since I'm not native from this part of from Del Valley, that it's one of the toughest districts to teach in, and that we expect so much above and beyond from our employees. And we love it when our employees, we've had, an HEB finalist, and we've got, just all the recognitions that our staff brings to the school district. And I just think if we're gonna expect so much out of our staff, we tell them every day it's a tough district to teach in, we expect you to go above and beyond, and then we need to show it to them.
But truthfully, when you go and look at these conferences, they rate compensation down at around number 3.
Why?
As far as the motivational components for.
It's usually morale or how they're treated on campuses.
But if they're having to take second jobs, I think that makes a huge dent.
There's unfortunate situations, there's hardships, but unfortunately, we can't decide
Guys, can we keep it
Budget
respectful so we
around
can have their discussion?
these individual situations. Here again, that's,
We have some changes that are coming in August, and we have a whole opportunity to change this time next year, where we can change this whole thing around. I think we need to buy ourselves another year.
Here.
And I think we need to do it at the rate that we're already doing it, and I think we can afford to do that for 1 year. And I think at that point, we can definitely revisit, and we can definitely ask people to make the sacrifices. And right now, we're in a position where we're still not there yet. We still, Arlington Girls District teaching in Central Texas, we're still not, they're not coming to us. We're just trading back and forth with these other districts right now. Until we are, we need every little advantage we can get.
We've also lowered some of our stipends, right? I know Heather's doing a big push for bilingual and a bilingual teacher fair and paying this big some bigger stipends, I think. So we've hurt ourselves some of that too. I thought we lost some of those stipends, but.
Yes.
Please don't. Okay, communicate that.
We currently have a $3,000 stipend for bilingual teachers, and that is for teachers that are in the classroom teaching bilingual classes. What I think you may be talking about is teachers that were receiving the stipend that weren't teaching bilingual students in the classroom.
Or
For
maybe,
example, art.
maybe it was a special ed stipend that we cut?
Probably for Gabe's time.
I was gonna say, you changed, hard to fill stipends were changed years ago, based on whether or not they were hard to fill.
Currently, we have math, science, bilingual.
Those are the current positions we have as stipends. Thank you.
Do we do any ESL stipends?
It's not hard to fill. Most of our teachers are getting
I know, well, I know Austin pays some ESL stipends.
I think this decision comes down to what we as a district deem most important. I think that we've shown that we believe that getting as many facilities or doing the redesign and doing what we can for the students is important. The next thing is, do we believe that doing what we can for our staff is important as a board? We understand the recommendation you guys made. That's your job, is to make the recommendation, give us what you think is done. But as a board, we can decide what we think is important. And I think that making the decision that our teachers are important and trying to keep them on board and doing what we can and using this as a recruiting tool. And I know that I voted against it, but hopefully your homeless agreements and all of these wonderful things will be coming in and we won't have to worry about this next year. But I agree with Ann and Debbie. I don't think we can cut it at this point in time. I don't understand. Now that we've got the $1 million back from the E-rate, that kind of offset what we were discussing in the budget workshop. And you sent calculations that we would still be at a 33% fund balance, which is only 1% difference than what is offered here if we offered the 450. So by my rudimentary math skills, we'd probably be at a 30% fund balance if we offered it at 529.
It's a healthy fund balance.
first of all, just to clarify, my position on this vote does not undermine what I feel the importance level of our teachers are. So if I vote differently, that's not me saying I rate our teachers and their importance at a lower priority. I think this vote takes into account all the elements of the budget that we have to consider. So
Well, I guess if there's no other discussion,
Trustee Diggs did ask that if you could wait for her to come back. She does want to participate because she knows how important this item is.
Can we crunch just some numbers just real quick?
but I've crunched numbers. What do you
Yeah,
want?
okay. 529, 500, 475, 450, what just?
Got 450 and I've got
Talking
529.
about here the difference. You sent it to us somewhere.
Yeah, at 450, and this is not my rudimentary math, this is what Elvis sent us. or Kelly sent us. At 450, if we do the 3% raise, that takes us to a fund balance of $34,619,246, which is a 33% fund balance. Now, my understanding is that that does not include the E-rate money that was added back tonight. I don't think you included that because this was sent on March 25th, and I don't know if you had that number yet.
Well, let me check with my budget folks. Are we saying that?
Which one are you looking at?
The one that you sent board information request Tuesday, March 25th at 1:12 PM.
Send us in an email.
But, right, but we were talking about how much it would cost. $50 a month is, per employee per month, is $914,100. So for every $50 you want to add, you
Add
you
914.
take that away from the latest thing we gave you.
Okay.
Okay? Because these numbers are still changing because we haven't closed out this year. That's why we're like, use the one from tonight to give yourself the best estimate.
And that also that is a point, thank you, that we, at the budget workshop, which we talked about, there would be $1 million to $2 million at the end of the budget year to roll into, which is not reflective on the budget tonight, correct?
It's right there. No, we never said we'd have a surplus. We'd always said,
No, we did say we would have money left over.
We're in the hole.
no, even our budget workshop one, we've been able to tighten it, but no, this one we're not able to.
It's talking about what we're gonna finish this year with. Yeah, no,
Remember that we did talk
No,
about.
it was never a surplus from the budget.
okay. Richard?
I'm going to make a motion. A motion recommended approved of the item as presented.
Would you mind reading that? As
For the 2014-15 plan, the administrator recommended district self-plan contribution to be $400 per employee per month. This is based on the current rate set
I
for.
think you like to read that part, just it wouldn't have the amount on there. So, yeah. Motion made by Richard McDonald. Seconded by Nancy Wilhite. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 5-4.
Shame.